everyone, and welcome to Alan's Italy. Tonight we are going to be continuing with our look at Orvieto. Last week we did Orvieto Part 1. Tonight we're going to be doing Part 2. We were there this past May, and it was really quite amazing. And there was just too much material for one show, so we're moving on and going into the second part of that. Funny thing happened to me this afternoon. I was watching TV, and I was actually moving on to something else on TV, and I happened to hear that Bologna was mentioned. Now, Bologna is a town that's about an hour north of Florence. I've been there once. It's a very nice town, and the food is supposed to be some of the best food in all of Italy. So I heard that, and I said, whoa, let me stay on the channel and see what's going on here. And I'm listening, and that they keep mentioning the word Bologna. But then I don't, I'm looking at the pictures, I don't see anything related to Bologna in the pictures, and I can't figure out exactly what's going on. And then I realized that, hey, wait a minute, those are pictures of Brooklyn, and the person they're talking about is a guy named Bologna. It had nothing to do with the city, nothing to do with Italy. And I felt like, hello, this is me at age 64. So, that was an interesting experience. This afternoon, I actually had a little time, and I was watching the show we did a couple of weeks ago when we had Professor Yves Dambra on, who did that great show on the Roman Forum, and that was really wonderful. I loved it, and it's like having your own private art history professor giving you this incredible talk on something that you've always been, fascinated with. So that was pretty amazing. And just to remind you, we were supposed to have her on next Friday, which is August 10th, but it's not going to be next Friday. It'll be the Friday after, which is August 17th. So she will be on, and she will be talking about Roman portrait busts, and the specialty of that will be hairstyles of women and men. So I'm going to keep reminding people, because I know that a lot of people have indicated to me that they'd be interested in that. So we'll certainly be focused on that. Anyway, right now, without further ado, I'd like to go to tonight's show and move that over there and do this and do this. There's always like a million things to do here to get this whole thing ready to go. Okay, so there it is. Show number 30, another milestone, so to speak. I'm a mathematician, so 30 is a milestone of sorts. Pretty amazing. Orvieto Part 2, and there's a picture of Orvieto perched up on a hill from a picture we took while driving towards Orvieto from the south. Okay, so a lot of these will be repetitions from last week. For those of you who missed last week, this is my friend Franco Sala, who owns the restaurant Antica Forno in Civita di Banreggio, one of my favorite small hill towns. That's he and I in his restaurant. I believe that's the picture from 2009. So that was one of the reasons that Laura and I wound up in Orvieto this past May, and the other reason was Rick and Sharon, and there they are looking at us from the window of their house as we pulled up in our car. So the other reason that we came to Orvieto was to stay in a town nearby to where they live. It's not that nearby, because Orvieto to their town in Roccalvecchia is about a 40-minute ride. Anyway, there's Umbria, and again, Tuscany is off to the left and slightly above Umbria. Umbria is very small, and we're going to take a closer look at Umbria in some future weeks. But right now, we are going to focus on one aspect of Umbria, and that is Orvieto, which is right over there at the bottom in a circle. I circled it in black, and there's a blue, little blue area there, which is Lake Bolsena, and you can see Tuscany and Lazio over there. And Rick and Sharon live in Lazio, not far from that little indication there for the town of Viterbo. So that's where Orvieto is, right at the bottom there. This is the map that shows Orvieto right there in the center and slightly above. And Civita, which is right below it, really, where Franco Sala has his restaurant. And Rick and Sharon live not far from that point over there. So that's putting it in perspective. As you can see, it's right on the autostrada. It's right on the main train route between Florence and Rome. It is one of my favorite towns anywhere in Italy. This is the map of the town of Orvieto, and there's the Duomo. Let me use my pointer. This is the Duomo, which is the cathedral, and we're going to start actually with that. And this is the hotel we stayed at, which was right next to the Duomo. And then we're going to actually be looking at two restaurants that we loved, La Grotta, but first over here, La Palomba. So I have some, interviews and some great pictures of the restaurants, and we could talk about that a little more later. But right now, I was not going to start with the cathedral, but I had a request from somebody to go back to the cathedral and at least talk about some of the wonderful paintings and some of the wall decorations in this very, very famous Umbrian church. Actually, I've read things where it says it's one of the most beautiful churches in all of Italy. This is the street right approaching it, and this is the piazza right next to the Duomo. And of course, there it is right there. It's a magnificent church. And again, it was designed by Arnolfo di Cambio in the early 14th century. And this is the piazza in front of the church. It's a really happening piazza, really fun. It doesn't look like there's too many people there now in this picture because it was an off time. And of course, it was in May, which is not the peak. The peak time is from I would say June 1st to through September. But there's the nave of the cathedral. It's very beautiful. And what I thought I would start with, there's what it looks like. That's the facade, which was actually not designed by Arnolfo di Cambio, but by a fellow named Maitani. But I'd like to talk a little bit about Arnolfo di Cambio. This is the only likeness I could get of him. He lived mostly in the 13th century, as you could see, and he was born in a town, Colle di Valdelsa. I've actually been there. It's located in Tuscany, probably northwest of Siena. And I did some research on him because his name struck a chord with me. And I said, wait a minute. He's the architect of the Cathedral of Florence. He's also the architect of the Palazzo Vecchio in Florence, two of the most famous buildings in all of Italy. And he's also the architect of the Cathedral of Orvieto. So there are three monumental achievements on the part of Arnolfo, and very, very extraordinary. As you could see, he lived, they're not sure, somewhere between 1300 and 1310. So this is a pretty, well-known guy. He designed the Palazzo Vecchio, which you're now looking at in Florence, which is one of the great buildings in Florence, and that served as it serves now as the municipal offices, and served then as the offices of the ruling body, the Signoria, and the Gonfaloniere, who was the mayor of the town. This is the Cathedral of Florence, which is another one of Arnolfo's achievements. So he designed that as well, which is pretty amazing. Of course, it didn't look like that in those early days that it was being built in the 15th century because of the fact, I think it was finished in the very, very early 15th century. That's when the competition for the dome started. So this was being built in the 14th century. And it didn't have a dome. And the campanile, of course, is not Arnolfo's. That was the architect of that was Giotto. But here is again the cathedral, the piazza. With I love this view. I mentioned that last week that we love this view because it shows you the context of the cathedral on the piazza and with the beautiful landscaping behind it and the restaurants on the left side. And these are some of the views inside the cathedral. The person who requested that I went through that a little too fast indicated to me that she would like it if we looked at that again. So I'm doing that. And this person, of course, knows who she is. I hope. So that's one of the things you see in there. This is amazing. This is one of the columns in the cathedral. And you can see how just absolutely beautiful that is. And that's inside the cathedral. There's a stained glass window above and a door below, and you can see the decorations going around it. This is a baptismal font that I am now. That's me in there staring at the font, and it's one of the most beautiful ones that I've ever seen. And this is one of the early paintings, and a lot of these paintings, these frescoes on the walls of the cathedral inside have not been really, very well preserved, and they haven't been restored to any great extent. So, this is certainly one that is, showing a lot of wear and tear over the years. It hasn't been refurbished, so they want to leave it like this. And there's something very interesting about that aspect of not actually restoring a great piece of work. This is the frescoes that were painted by Luca Signorelli in the Cappella San Brizio, the San Brizio Chapel, very famous chapel inside the cathedral. It's a monumental work, and Luca was considered to be one of the great artists of his time. That's also another monumental work. It's very colorful, as you could see. That's from the Cappella San Brizio. Very beautiful. Pretty spectacular. I indicated last time that this reminded me of the Sistine ceiling, and does. Of course, the Sistine ceiling is like, takes your breath away. And I just thought I'd throw in this picture that I found on the internet of Luca Signorelli. And you could see that when he was, born and died, and he was born again, born in Cortona, which is located in Tuscany. And he is the artist of the fresco cycle of the Chapel of San Brizio and the Cathedral of Orvieto. And as you can see, he looks like a pretty good-looking guy. That hairstyle of the, of that Renaissance time, when you see pictures of Dante and other famous people from the 15th century, they all have, the same basic dress and hairstyle. Of course, this is another look. These are all the people gathered around the Cappella to take a view of it. And there's yet another one. And now we're, out into the streets. And one of the great things about visiting Orvieto is that walking the streets of Orvieto is really a fascinating experience. That's Pinocchio. And Pinocchio, of course, was the invention of the mind of a person that I guess I did not write down. I owe you one, my fellow, my viewers. I didn't write down the fellow who designed Pinocchio, but it was certainly an Italian because the name Pinocchio is an Italian name. I'll look that up for you, and then I'll nail that when I see you next week. These are some of the views in Orvieto. So this is just simply walking around the town is one of the really great experiences of coming to this town. So this is one of the views. And of course, Laura's very interested in photographing doors, so this is her work. Loves doing this. Has doors from all over Italy. And this is what it's like walking through the streets. It's, quite beautiful. Cobblestone streets, the arch. Modern, there's all kinds of modern things in all these pictures, signs and so on. So you kind of have to accept that. But this is, it's just wonderful walking down these lanes, so charming and beautiful. And as you can see, there aren't too many people. Again, you can see that, the tranquility of this beautiful setting is kind of marred a little by the cars, but that's the way, things are all over the world. Nothing is really unspoiled. Look at that door. This was a very cute little building. We're not sure what this was. I can't remember what this was, but it was, how'd you like to live in here? And I want you to know that the view these people had was one of those spectacular views. You're actually going to see it in just a few moments. I took a little video, a very short video of the view from one of the ramparts of the walls. So these are all views of our experience of walking through the town, which is actually probably my favorite experience when I'm in Italy, and that's walking around the town, just strolling the streets with no destinations. You don't have to make a particular museum closing or an appointment. You just kind of stroll the streets, and when you feel hungry, you stop, have a cappuccino, or you have lunch, or something else to eat, and it's very, very relaxing and fun to do that. Some more rooftops with the the countryside in the background. I remember where this church was, and I recall going into the church, in fact. And the most beautiful part of this church, in my opinion, is the loggia on the left side. You see that little I'll point it out, because I've mentioned the word loggia many times, and just so you know what a loggia is, it has these arches and columns, and it's kind of like an outdoor patio type area. So that always grabs me, because I love loggias, and that's one of the things that was very interesting. And then, of course, right here is the bell tower. So that was very interesting to see as well. One of the things I really love in these towns are these signs. I'm very into the signs, as I've mentioned many times. And sometimes, believe it or not, I just stare at these signs. When the sign is in white, it's usually pointing out a hotel. When the sign is in brown, as you can see up there, it usually means a museum or a gallery of some sort. The green signs are the autostrada, and the sign right below there indicates that straight ahead is a parking lot. That's the blue sign in white with the P in white, and also the bullseye indicates that the Centro district is there. There's always different kind of concentric circles as the town is constructed, and the very inner part of that is called Centro, which is it's very helpful to follow these signs, because if you know your hotel is in the Centro district, you know that you're headed in the right direction. Then you have kind of the outskirts, not the outskirts, but around the Centro, and then beyond that, in this case, Orvieto, the bottom part of Orvieto is on this 1,000 feet high plateau, and below that is the area known as the Scalo, which is where the train station is. These are some of the views of some of the stores that we frequented. This is actually a store that Franco Sala took us to, and introduced us to the owner. We did not get a picture of him, and of course did not get a video of him as well, so that was unfortunate. You know, you can't just go in and out of every store taking videos, although it's tempting because it's really fun to do that. And again, some of the streets with a little cafe over there or restaurant on the left side. More streets. This could be actually be the main street of Via Cavour. Some modern sculpture. This is that same church that I showed you before where I pointed out the loggia. So that's what the loggia looks like from the other direction. You can see how beautiful that is. And, you know, they're very, it's very nice. The municipality is providing a little bench over there on the left side. So you could sit under the shade of the loggia on a hot day and just kind of look out. Very, very nice. And stuck into the side there, I see a telephone with that little plastic awning over it. So again, you know, you get the modern things mixed in. There's another store that we like going into and was very pleasant to see. You know, window shopping and going in and seeing the things that the shops have available and speaking with the owners. It's all that is just, you know, fun stuff when you're in a new place or an old place. This is all very very fun. And there's me standing in front of a restaurant trying to determine if we're going to eat lunch there. And we indeed actually decided to eat there. And this is me sitting at a table doing a very, very silly thing for a person who's so experienced in Italian travel. My wallet is on the table. You know, I already gave them my credit card and I just left my wallet there, which is a very bad thing to do because that's like inviting disaster. When you travel in Italy or actually anywhere else in the world, you know, after you take your credit card out and give it to the waiter or the waitress, you're supposed to take your wallet and put it back where you found it. Otherwise, you put it on the table and you sort of, you know, push it to the side and you wind up losing it, as I've done a couple of times. Another store, the interior of a store with some, it looks like ceramics. A very interesting spot. Look at that street. That is just an absolutely beautiful street. Me on the bench. We actually saw the same bench, or it may not be the same bench, but there was a bench just like it in another picture of someone who was in Italy recently, so it may have been the same bench. More streets, lovely streets, with, you know, the modern aspects along the side. Look at that one. How would you like to come home from work and walk, you know, through this arch and up those stairs? Just beautiful. More stores. Back to the piazza with the Duomo on the left side. And another view of the Piazza del Duomo from a different angle. I think this is the angle right on the right side of the Duomo. That's probably where that picture was taken from. And down a couple of steps over there on the left side is where our hotel was located. This is another church in Orvieto. A view of some of the roofs. Back to that's the actual hotel that we stayed in. And we had one of those lovely rooms over there on the left side. That's the view of the patio of the Duomo, the Hotel Duomo. And when you came out of the Duomo, this is, you know, the street you went down. So pretty amazing. You know, look at this. Just charming, beautiful places. These are the things that really I love doing. This is a video coming up now, Ellen, of the view from Orvieto looking out at the countryside. It's very short, only a minute a little over a minute. This is the view from the town of Orvieto, looking out at the countryside. It's one of the most magnificent views I've ever seen in the Tuscan or Umbrian hillside. It's absolutely stunning. I hope that this video captures the essence of this incredible, beautiful view. And I'm going to go back now the other way. We are at the, I'm trying to think of the exact location. I think we're at the western, no, this is the western wall of the town, as Laura's taking still pictures of this whole thing. Let me show you the tops of the houses as well. These people have quite a view of the Umbrian hillside. I wanted to give you an idea as to what it's like. You know, you walk around the town and you get this incredible view of the countryside that, you know, the people in these houses get. And this is where the people live. Look at this. This is just, you know, this lovely little balcony with flowers, and you know, this is a picture of Rick and me in that restaurant that I think I pointed out to you earlier. He's busy studying the menu. I'm busy being vain and hamming it up a little. That's the other side of the table where Laura and Sharon are seated. And you know, one of the really great experiences for us is sitting at one of these outdoor places in this charming town, having lunch with two of our closest friends. Okay, you know, I debated whether I should show this or not. This is a condom machine. They have condom machines in Italy. This is one of them. There's another one. So they come right out and you know, and we, you know, Laura and I were discussing this the other day, and you know, Italy's a very Catholic country, so I don't know if they believe in birth control, but they certainly, the government certainly promotes contraceptions. So that was that. This is a store that had scarves. I think we bought one, or Sharon may have bought one. This is the cloister of a building. It turned, I think this building was a school, but it was, you know, obviously originally perhaps a church, with the interior cloister there, and the loggia again, the loggia around the side. And this is actually not a loggia. This is more of a terrace kind of thing. There's some beautiful views of the surrounding area. And now we come to something that I've really been looking forward to a lot. This is the restaurant that we had dinner at the second night. First night we went somewhere else, but the second night we went to a restaurant because Franco wanted to take us here. And this is called La Palomba. This is his favorite restaurant, one of his favorite restaurants. And there it is, Trattoria La Palomba at Via Cipriano Menente, number 16 in Orvieto, Italy. And it's a wonderful restaurant. There is Franco talking to one of the owners of the restaurant, Gian Piero. That's what the restaurant looks like in the inside. There's me talking to Gian Piero. He was a very nice guy. That is the chef, whose name is Giovanna. She cooked up quite a meal for us. That is a picture of Gian Piero and Giovanna, and Gian Piero's wife, Carla. Very lovely people. There's me having the privilege of, you know, standing with them and taking this picture. I told them that I do a cable access television show, and there's Laura with them. And they were very eager to entertain us, and even if I wasn't doing the show and they would be on YouTube and, you know, television, public access television, they would still be, you know, wonderful people. This is, you know, friends of Franco. This is the waitress. Her name was Mirella. Excuse me. I'm sorry, not Mirella. That's Sonia. That's Sonia. She was very, very kind to us and served us a great meal. And here's a video that I have. This is a little bit longer. This is a video of me interviewing the owner of the restaurant, John Piero. So here we go, Ellen. We are in welcome to Alan's Italy. We are in Orvieto, Italy, and we're at La Palomba restaurant. It's going to be a great experience, and I will do another video after we're finished eating this incredible meal that's about to come out. The wine is amazing. But I'd like to ask you a couple of questions, if I might.
Se parlo, aiutami però.
Sì. Okay, translate for you.
Okay, so this is a family business.
È una bella famiglia, sì.
No, ha detto che è un business di famiglia, cioè è tutta la famiglia che
Sì,
lavora.
la famiglia, sì,
con un aiuto.
Con aiuti, sì.
With one helper, yeah.
How long has he owned this
Quanto
restaurant?
tempo che c'hai questa?
Sono 50 anni.
50 years.
Family.
50
The
years?
family.
family.
He owned this business. He managed this business.
How far back does it go? How far?
Io ero molto piccolo.
He was a kid when he started. You know?
Right. And his father owned it?
Chi era tuo padre o tuo nonno? Chi?
Papà,
Tuo padre.
padre e mamma.
His father and his mother started the business.
They started the business 50 years ago.
50 years ago.
In the same exact spot.
Esatto spot, cioè sempre in questo posto.
Sempre. Non era un ristorante, ma era una osteria.
It wasn't a restaurant, but it was osteria. Osteria restaurant is different, you know.
Cosa differente.
Now it's a restaurant with white clothes and everything.
Era un'osteria.
Osteria was only for glass of wine,
Sì,
a
glass
piece of
of
bread,
wine,
a slice of salami, and
salami,
you understand?
E panino.
So you must so Gian Piero, you must be very successful.
Cioè dovresti avere molto successo qui, no?
Sì, abbiamo molto successo.
Because you have great food.
E perché?
Yeah, because they have a great food, yeah.
Perché
Perché avete anche un buon cibo, no?
Tell them that we haven't tasted the food yet, but the people who run the restaurant, he and his family are wonderful people.
Ha detto che ancora non ha assaggiato il cibo, però ha visto che te e la tua famiglia siete una grande famiglia.
sì, la nostra forza
His
è,
power
è nella qualità
is in the quality of
e
food,
nella gentilezza, nel servizio, nell'accoglienza delle persone.
is to be kind with the people, smiling and shining and everything.
But that's he's not just doing that like a politician. He's doing it because it's coming from the heart.
Yeah, ha detto che non è che lo fai per politica del
No,
locale,
no,
lo fai perché ti viene dal cuore.
I could tell that this is not just a job.
Yeah.
This is a passion. Tell him
Cioè
that.
non è solo un lavoro per
No.
te, ma è anche una grande passione.
Anche perché il nostro locale
Even because
small,
it's
piccolo,
local, it's very
piccolo.
small, it's not so big. And
non un business per soldi, insomma, no? Anche, ma
His
yeah,
business.
he works also for
Okay,
money,
no,
but not for only for that.
Right. I know that. I could tell him.
cioè per fare il business ci vogliono i numeri, molti grandi numeri
I
per fare il
could tell him. I
business.
could tell. I could
No,
tell.
vero?
Sì, ma lui ha detto questo.
Ok.
So
Is that what he
anyway,
said?
Vogliamo rimanere come siamo, basta.
And he want to stay at the same level. I mean, he doesn't want to grow. He want to remain at the same.
La nostra è una cucina slow.
It's a very slow food here. You understand?
really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, tell him that.
Nonno vecchio così o no.
Tell him in
slow.
the United States, people like to, see a
Yeah,
business.
but the United States here is Italy. It's different.
I know. That's why I've been here 20. Tell him
The
I've been here.
quality is in the small quantity.
Tell him I've
It's
been
not
here
a big
20
thing.
times. Tell him this is my 20th visit to
È la
Italy.
20ª volta che viene in Italia. lui.
Ah sì?
Sì, sì.
And prior to this night, my favorite place was Firenze.
A Firenze
È
la
il suo
sua.
posto
Sì.
preferito.
Civita.
Prima di questa sera,
Sì.
And Civita.
Anche
And
Orvieto.
Civita di Benedetto.
Ok.
Don't forget Civita.
Civita di Benedetto.
I throw down the pressure next time.
Anyway, tell him that we're very eager to start eating because we're just very eager to taste the wonderful food.
Cioè, adesso a questo punto vuole assaggiare veramente il cibo.
Ecco, tanto
Saluta.
Grazie.
a te. Grazie.
All right.
Okay, so that was the interview with Gian Piero, And you know, there's that light. You see the light over there on the left side. That was, and that there was a line down the side of that video. So yeah, you can't help that. Sometimes you just don't get perfect, ideal circumstances. So that was the problem with that. And you know, the comment I made when I said, you know, politicians sometimes, you know, are not. Franco and I had a discussion about an hour earlier where we were discussing the mayor of the town of Orvieto. Because I said to him, you should run for mayor. You know practically everybody in this town, and you could probably become the mayor. He said, I don't want to get involved in that, you know. And we just had a little discussion on politicians in general. This is some of the food that came out then. This is Sonia working on, you know, some of the food there. We had some, you know, we had a wonderful, some wonderful things, which I honestly don't remember. To tell you the truth. Oh, I think I wrote them down, but then this is. I know we had this pasta dish first, so I remember we had the works. I mean, they brought out white wine for the pasta, and then when the steaks came out later on, they brought some red wine. So we were like really, you know, we had this fantastic meal, and you know, this restaurant specializes in truffles, so practically everything they brought out that night had truffles on it. I think that pasta was pasta with truffles, and then we indicated that we loved the truffles, and they brought out the steak covered with truffles. So I don't know if that was good or bad, but it was certainly delicious, and we, you know, thanked them very much. This is another picture of the three of us actually talking about, you know, getting ready for the interview. This is what the restaurant looked like. And that's me standing, you know, kind of in the middle of the restaurant. And this is the video that I did at the very end after the meal had taken place. So once again, here is the video, and this is very short. It's only a minute and a half. Okay, so this is, we've had the meal already, so we're talking. Here's John Piero.
Ciao.
Okay.
Ciao, ciao.
Okay. This is the restaurant, La Palomba.
Lovely.
Okay, you want to go over there?
Okay.
Don't do that table in the corner. Sit down at the table.
You have a table?
Can you show this table too?
Yes.
Not that. No. Not the one over there. No. Show it. Sit down. Okay. Now. Okay, so we've had this incredible meal. It was an amazing meal. It was, what was the pasta?
With
Let
truffles.
me get this one.
It was
Pescado carbonara con
truffles.
truffles. It was pasta with truffles, amazing. Then we had steak.
Bistecca.
Unbelievable. This has been an unbelievable meal. So I can tell you now, after the fact, that this is an unbelievable restaurant. How good is it? We have a reservation for another restaurant tomorrow. We're coming here instead. I'm letting my friends cancel the reservation. I'm not going to tell you the name of the restaurant because it's a good restaurant, but this is better, and we're coming here. So thank you for watching Alan's Italy. In actuality, what happened was that we told them that we wanted to eat in this restaurant again the next night. And we had a reservation at this place, which is La Grotta. And there was some discussion between Franco and John Piero. And then they came back to the table and they said to us, we're not letting you do that. It's not nice to do that. We know you're trying to be nice to us by giving us more business, but in fact, that's not, you know, the way you should do it. You made a reservation at La Grotta. It's a wonderful place and you should go there. So these people, just shows you the authenticity of these people and how sincere and wonderful they are, that they're looking out for the owner of another restaurant who turned out to be a really sweet and wonderful man. This is the restaurant. This is the entrance to the restaurant. It's called Trattoria La Grotta. It's located at Via Luca Signorelli 5, which is number 5, in Orvieto, Italy. And there's a sign pointing to where the restaurant. This is what the restaurant looks like. There's Rick. So we went here with Rick and Sharon. So there's Rick sitting over there on the right side. And that's what the restaurant looked like. It's very pretty. This is a very interesting. Oh, I forgot to do that. I was going to do something and I forgot to do it. I have a talent for folding napkins. I'm not a cook or a chef. I don't know anything about food really, but I am. But when Laura and I have dinner parties, my job is to set the table with the glassware and the crystal and all, and then to create these napkins. And I was showing the waitress. The waitress's name is actually Mirella, and I was showing her how to do it. And there I am doing that. And I wanted to do a video, but she said I don't want to do it because I don't look so great. Look how pretty she is. But people are modest. This is the owner. His name is Franco, and he's I'm observing while I taught him how to fold a napkin, and now he's doing it himself. And this is me asking him if I could work here next summer, just folding napkins. And he looked at me and said. And this is him saying to me, you're a very sweet young man, but you can't work here just to fold a napkin. You're going to teach us how to do this, and then we're going to do it ourselves. So this was, the owner, and there's Mirella and Franco and me in the restaurant. And then we, of course, went into the street. And this is one of the museums. This is the Palazzo. This is the Palazzo Papali, which is the Pope's palace, and it has two museums in it. One of the museums is called the Modo, which is the Modern Art Museum, which has the art of a fellow named Emilio Greco, who was a 20th century Sicilian artist who actually did the door. He's a sculptor, and he sculpted the doors of the Duomo, and also in this museum he has 20 bronze sculptures. We're going to see that in just a moment. And then below this museum is an archaeological museum with Etruscan art. That's what it looks like from slightly further away. And that's another museum. This is another Etruscan museum called the Museo Claudio Faina, the Museo Civica, which means the Civic Museum. And we're going to look at that one first. This is one of the best Etruscan museums in all of Umbria, and certainly one of the best in Orvieto. And I do a little video here. So here's another video of this Etruscan museum.
This is the Etruscan Museum in Orvieto, right near the Duomo. It's a marvelous museum of Etruscan art, as you can see. The Etruscan language was never deciphered, and so these written tablets here, which has Etruscan lettering, they don't know what it said. So it's pretty amazing. This is art from 2,500 years ago and beyond, going before the period of the Romans. This is a sarcophagus from that time. Very, very beautiful. And this is my favorite piece in the whole place. This is a reclining individual which went on the top of the sarcophagus, and this is just a beautiful piece. The Etruscans love to show people in a state of relaxation, and you can see that that's exactly what's going on here. So this is a marvelous museum. This is the ground floor. We're about to go upstairs now and continue with this.
Museum, and this is some of the pieces that we saw in the museum. Actually, these are the art that we saw in both of the Etruscan museums. So I really am not sure which was in which, whether it was in the Etruscan museum, the Faina, or if it was in the Pope's Palace, that part of that museum. But these are some of the Etruscan, the art from the Etruscan art, and it was really pretty amazing. Very, pretty well preserved from 3 millennia. ago. Some of them are, of course, only from the second millennium BC. These are coins. Okay, I think I just caught myself in a mistake. This is not the second or third millennium BC. This is, it's 2,500 years old, but that's dated from now. So this is actually the first millennium BC. From around 500 BC, 600 BC. So that original comment was not correct. I thought I'd correct myself, so I'd be able to then go home and have a good night's sleep without worrying about having given wrong information. This is obviously a vase, and it reminds me very much of the Greek vases. They took a lot of their art from the Greeks, and the Greek civilization was actually contemporary with the Etruscan civilization. There's another coin from that time. A jug. Looks like another sarcophagus, but perhaps a younger person because it's much smaller. Some beautiful pieces of art. And this is the other museum. That's the Palazzo Papali. I'm not sure how that's pronounced. That was the Pope's palace. And the Etruscan Museum is on the ground floor, and the Emilio Greco Modo is upstairs. And that's what we're now looking at. We're looking at the Emilio Greco art. He was a bronze sculptor, and this is some of his work. This is modern. There's nothing, ancient or medieval about this. This is from the he was a 20th century Sicilian artist, so this is all from that time. This is his work. And he's known for having sculpted the modern doors of the cathedral. And that's why they decided to, have this whole museum just in his honor. His work was beautiful, and we really enjoyed seeing this. You go to these places and you see a lot of medieval art and ancient art, and it's really nice that you get an opportunity to see some modern pieces as well. And you can see that he was a very, very talented sculptor in bronze. Okay, so we come out of the museum, and we're now in the piazza, walking back towards the Duomo. Oh, you know what this is? This is a view of, when you go to Orvieto, one of the things that is very nice to do is to explore the countryside. And this is one of the towns in the countryside. This is Viterbo. So this is the town of Viterbo, where we took a side trip. And Rick and Sharon, who live not far from Viterbo, took us here. And this is one of the, Orvieto is right in the middle of everything. There's a lot of things to see around it in the countryside. And this is a view of the town of Viterbo. I'm not going to do too much on this because we will be having an entire show just on this magnificent city. And Rick will be on the show with me to actually help me do that. And this is the town of Tuscania, which is another town in that vicinity. This is a view from one of the ramparts in Tuscany. And again, we're going to be doing an entire show on that. So I'm not going to talk too much about that now, but sometime in the future we will come back to Tuscania and to also Viterbo. And again, my thanks to John Piero and Giovanna and Carla for their kindness at the restaurant La Palomba of Orvieto. And also my thanks to Franco and Mirella for their kindness at La Grotto of Orvieto. So that brings us to the end of tonight's show. I'd like to thank you for watching, and buona notte e buona fortuna.